is that the car arrives here with the body shell naked from the factory. At this point, the mechanics will build the roll cage inside the car, which is around 40 meters of tube, to make sure the car is strong in case of impact and protect the driver and the co-driver, but also to comply with the FIA regulations. One more department I wanted to show you is the engine department and the engine test bench. For Citroën Racing, it's a really important department as we design and build our engine ourselves in-house.
This is where the road car really becomes a rally car, the testing and configuration of the engine.
It is the engine in the same position like in the car, and we put more sensor than in the car. With this machine we can simulate every WRC stage. When we simulate a stage, it's necessary to modify the parameters like temperature, like altimetric pressure, and we also control the engine speed. If we want, in few minutes we can simulate a special stage, like in Mexico because there is altitude parameters, like Sweden because it's cold, and Jordan because it's hot.
Once the car leaves the factory, it's time for intensive testing around the world. It's over to the guys whose opinions really count to finish off this extraordinary transformation.
I just sit here in the car. The engineer are making the calculation and doing a base setting, and then we start from this and we say, okay, the car is maybe too much understeering, oversteering, too much bumping, and then we try to adjust this to work together to find the solution to the complaint of the drivers. And I would say the final setting of the car, it's the driver who decides. So it's really a question of feeling of the driver.
Time to head back to ProDrive for the ongoing development of the Mini Countryman from road car to rally car.
It's relatively easy to make a very strong, reliable car, and it's relatively easy to make a very fast car. What is really difficult is to hit just the right balance, so where you've got a car that's faster than anybody else's and more reliable than anybody else's. That's really bloody difficult. I think the suspension is probably the area of the car where we have to be most careful and where we're under most pressure. A rally car, you know, it's sort of the biggest single element of where it's different from any other racing car is in the suspension. You know, the variety of terrain, the abuse that it gets, and the conflict between durability and performance. If we set the wrong targets, we're in trouble. If we want the car to be fast, we've got to go as far as we dare towards making all the suspension components light. If we go too far, the first time we get to a big rock or a big jump, the wheels fall off. Perhaps the hardest thing at this stage is not to rush it too much. You know, we're always under time pressure at this point in a project. We're all itching to get the car out onto the track and run it as soon as we can. But taking your time at this stage, measuring things, inspecting things properly, checking the way that things go together, checking the tolerances and so on, is the secret to getting it right first time. We've got here the main part of the upright. This has been a focus of a lot of attention in the design office. We did a complete review of the design targets and the manufacturing process to see if we could set new targets for lightweight and production cost.
We did a component count on this on the upright. It's something like 70 components just in the one package about this size to hold the wheel on.
The engine is a collaboration between ourselves and BMW Motorsport. BMW Motorsport, I would have to say, are doing most of the hard work. They're the guys that are creating the base engine. Our role in it is to think about how it will perform in the rally car as opposed to in a racing car. So we have to think about the extra control that you need in a rally car compared to a racing car, the kind of characteristics you need in a rally engine as opposed to a racing engine, and we'll have to then make sure that the engine performs in the car the way that a rally driver expects it to, which is slightly different. I mean, it's a completely different environment to a racetrack.
2 weeks have passed and things have moved on significantly at ProDrive.
I can tell, talking to the designers, they see all these bits coming in from the suppliers. The gearbox arrived from Extract today. It went in perfectly. Some of the clever ideas that are included on the car are actually proving to sort of slot together as anticipated. There's still a lot of testing to be done, still a lot of proving to be done, but nonetheless, the sort of the concepts they now can see coming in real material ways. So it's, and tomorrow we've got the head of Mini Worldwide coming here. He's coming to have a look at the progress, to sort of talk through the plans and the launch arrangements.
The goal for tomorrow, when we've got a VIP visit, is for them to see that the car is all but complete, to see how far we've got on with the project, how well things are progressing, that we're on schedule, and that, you know, the quality of the work we've done hopefully will speak for itself. You only make one first impression, so we need to make sure it is a good one. Gradually over the last few weeks it's turned from, you know, from the computer screen to real components, and you can see behind me a car coming together. But I think what's important about tomorrow is that the program and the objectives suddenly become much more real. Clearly it's our aim to be competitive from the beginning. The program will certainly ramp up. We wouldn't expect, as we stand here today, to be coming in next year and winning every rally. But there is, make no mistake, in the way we've approached it, we haven't allowed some long period for developing the performance of the car.
This car has to be fast when it comes off the blocks.
Today really is a big day. We've got these VIP visitors today from, you know, BMW board members coming to have a look at how we're getting on and formalise things with David. And yeah, it was an important milestone for us as well to get the car down on its wheels. So yeah, things are building up nicely.
Now you're at the 11th hour. Yes. Now reality comes quickly, and then you see whether it works.
To see the guys working on the finite detail here, and I think some very exciting mathematical models, but at the end of the day, racing is racing, and all will be revealed once we get the car out on the road and we've done the testing, and then we take the next move forward. But I think the preparation has been exceptional.
You simply have to underwrite it.
Simply. No the same one.
Wow.
Right, congratulations. The fact that Mini is going to return to the World Rally Championship is probably the biggest news that's happened to the WRC in many decades. It is a vindication that the World Rally Championship is going in the right direction again. It's a vindication of the technical rules that they allow us to build a competitive car that's going to be built economically. And a brand as powerful and as so international as Mini, to see the World Rally Championship as being a valid marketing platform for them, is a great tick in the box for the championship.
Mini are re-entering the sport, but one car that has established itself as one of the greats is the Ford Focus. Colin McRae, Carlos Sainz, Marcus Gronholm and Petter Solberg, 4 world champions who've all driven Ford's ultimate WRC car. Making its debut in 1999 with Colin McRae, the Focus went on to win 2 events in its inaugural year. Everyone involved in rallying stood up and took notice of this new machine. It was the relationship between Ford and M Sport that was the key to their success.
So very strongly linked with Ford, with the manufacturing and the design side. We were very involved in the very first Focus. At the same time as they were designing the car, and we did incorporate quite a few things that we needed, and of course we launched the rally car in Paris in 1998 at the same time as they launched the road car. So we had a real close involvement right from the outset. which again was a big advantage to it.
It takes a certain type of person to create the innovations that give their drivers the cutting edge.
I think you need to be kind of crazy a little bit, just get those crazy ideas and then work those out to be as a rally car. And many times, you know, it can be something that feels like there's no way it can work, but then when they design it and plan it and put it in a car like as whole together, it just works. So they are very talented.
What's important from the road car is the chassis, because you have to keep the base of the chassis and the architecture of the car, so its length, its width. As well, what's very important is the front suspension. With the World Rally Car regulation, the front suspension is to be based a lot on the road car suspension. On rally car, we've got 2 times the suspension travel as the road car, and to package that is very difficult with the transmission, drive shaft, travel and angles. It always tries to clash with everything. That's always the challenge is the front end. We start working on the engine on its own. The transmission guys work on the transmission for the layout and so on. They work on that. In parallel, we will work on the shell, on the body shell, for all the roll cage design and stiffness and crashworthiness. And then in parallel with that, we will work on wind tunnel exercises as well. All the program runs in parallel, and at the end all goes together.
To complete the transformation from road car to rally car, it's over to the drivers.
Well, now when we start testing and do the final tuning and final setups for rallies, we're going to be involved of that, of course. It's going to be all about basically drivers and the team as well to work together.
You can still modify things if you are not happy with the position of the handbrake levers and everything like that. So, and if you notice that some things didn't work at the first time and the driver says that, you know, the diff is not so good, so you can change the diff. So quite a lot, you know, things can be changed.
After 11 years in the World Rally Championship, the focus will shake down no more. How much has Ford's success in the WRC contributed to making the road-going Focus such an important car?
Ford and Rally, there's a tremendous history and heritage there within the sport, but I think there's no question the fact of, you know, winning back-to-back World Championships in 2006, 2007, and made it one of the best-selling cars in the world.
There is no better example of an impact a top WRC car can have on its road car cousin than the Subaru Impreza. Introduced to the WRC in 1993 with the sole purpose to get the brand away from industrial machinery and onto the motorways worldwide. With a wild-driving Colin McRae behind the wheel, the Subaru Impreza became an instant success among the young rally fans around the world.
You know, Colin really was a lot to do with it as well. It really showed the car off for, you know, just how it worked and handled, and it was a great scene to watch in the stage, and his antics. And a lot of the other drivers as well were very good in the car, and we had lots of good strong results, and we seemed to dominate for quite a while. You know, the team was very young and fresh, and it was like a fresh look in the rallying, you know.
Impreza won 3 consecutive manufacturers' titles in 95, 96 and 97, and 3 drivers' championships with Colin McRae, Richard Burns and Petter Solberg.
You're the best in the world!
Even whilst the Impreza was still competing in the WRC in 2007, both drivers and co-drivers knew exactly why the car had already achieved legendary status.
I think it's the fact that you can nearly buy the same car on the street, and like some of my mates have got WRXs, and like it's not such a different car to what I race, so it's pretty cool, and like they're good fun to drive.
Your road car is almost the same, or it's exactly the same layout. You can't buy a four-wheel drive turbocharged Ford Focus, for instance, but I think that's another reason why the Impreza has been so popular and so successful, is that you can actually go in the showroom, buy a blue one with gold wheels, boxer engine, exactly the same layout as the rally car. So probably that's one of the biggest reasons it's been so popular.
WRC made the Subaru Impreza a household name around the world, and the cars are still rolling off the production line in their thousands.
We learnt an awful lot through our relationship with Subaru, and the iconic status of the blue and yellow cars that you still see on the streets today. To see that develop and the way it sort of expressed itself in the marketplace, and the result of the change of the image of Subaru, the sales that they benefited from, was quite extraordinary for us.
Coming up, Christian Loriot shows us the differences between a road-going Ford Focus and its WRC counterpart, and the pressure is building at ProDrive as they